Hey everybody, Marcus Crawford here with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. Hey, I'm out at Kleiner Park today. It is a warm fall day. It's in the mid 80s. Let me tell you, I was out walking around and it got plenty hot while I was getting my walk in. However, that's not what we're here for. We're here to fly some drones. I was thinking that there's a couple of drones that I haven't flown for a while that are kind of a natural comparison. So I have the Fimi X8 Mini version 2, and I have, and you got to think about these names, you don't get them right. The Fimi X8 Mini version 2 and the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro. Now, I think this is known, if you buy it as an EXO drone, and that's the way Hubsan sells their drones now, is through EXO, who is essentially just a reseller of drones, and it's called the EXO Blackhawk Mini. But anyway, initially came to me as the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro. So we'll talk more about the drones as we fly them, but primarily what I'm going to do today is just get them in the air and let's compare video, right? Because why do you buy a GPS camera drone? To get good video and good pictures. So we'll probably take a couple of pictures too with each of the drones. They both have a lot of features. We don't have time to go through them, nor do we have battery power. What I want to tell you is I updated the firmware on both drones just a little bit ago, and I didn't take screenshots of the firmware numbers, but when I take off with each drone, I'll go to the About page so you can see the firmware package. But both of them updated very easily over the app. The only thing about the Hubsan drone is you got to plug the USB cord into the back of the drone to do that update. Not that big a deal. Easy enough to do, and they both went very smoothly. So they both have the latest firmware package. Let's get them up in the air. And again, primarily, we're looking at flyability, in other words, how well they fly, how they hold themselves in space, etc., and the video and picture quality. There are, like I said, they're both full-featured products. They have all kinds of intelligent flight modes, both of them. The Zino has obstacle avoidance. However, I have just not had very good luck with the obstacle avoidance on this drone, and I don't trust it. In fact, you'll see when we first fire it up, it tells you right in the app that, you know what, you need to calibrate the OA sensors, and I've done it before. It is a long, drawn-out process. I'm never going to do it again. I'll just turn OA off, and we'll make sure that we miss all the trees. So anyway, that's about it. Let's quit messing around. Let's get these birds in the air. Okay, I've got the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro fired up. I'm going to go into the device status list so you can see here, and I see they still have the that little dialog box that blocks everything, but there you can see the firmware numbers, and I did a compass calibration, so we're good to go there. Yeah, so we should be ready to go here, and you can see we're down to 82% battery. That's because I did a firmware update with this drone on this battery. So anyway, let's go ahead and do an automated takeoff. And are you sure you want to take off? And yes, I am. And there's the little drone. Yeah, it's doing all right. It's kind of moving back towards us here. I don't know if you can see that on the Action 2 camera. You probably can. I am going to, and it tells us we've only got 10 satellites, so I'm going to move back forward and see if we can get some more satellites. Well, let's move it out there a ways. And it keeps moving back. I move it forward, it comes back. That's typical Hubsan behavior. Let's bring it over here. And it keeps wanting to come back towards me. Let's move it out there a ways. And you can see it kind of moving around. Let me turn it back towards us. And I don't know which mode I've got it in. It's just not grabbing enough satellites, so it's saying it's in vision mode. So that's why it's moving around. You know, why it's not grabbing more satellites, I don't know. But in the meantime, what we want to do is we want to get to recording. So I'm going to switch to video mode. And then let's click on those little bars up at the top and then the 3 dots. We want everything in auto. So it looks like we do. We got everything in auto. We got the histogram on. Yeah, where does it say? Let's see. There we go. 4K, 30 frames per second. And you know what? I cannot remember if we're recording to the internal memory. This guy has internal memory, so I can't remember if it's recording to the internal memory or the micro SD card. And I can't remember where it says where you do that at. Or we don't want portrait mode. 4K 30, that's what we want. We're going to go through this one more time. Yeah, memory card capacity. So, you know what? I don't know, and I can't remember where you tell it where you're recording to. But in any case, we're going to start recording. So we're recording now, and it looks like we got 14 satellites. So it just took it a little bit. Let's see if we can bring it in closer to the camera. It's really settled down now. Yeah, it's settled right down. So it's got satellites, and it's doing much better. And I want to turn obstacle avoidance off. So I am going to go. Where am I going to find obstacle avoidance at? I'm telling you. I thought I saw it here earlier. It's been a while since I've flown this drone. Return to home. There we go. And it is off. So that's what we wanted. I just didn't scroll down far enough. But return to home altitude set at 41. That's too high. Let's go down a little bit. 35, and that's plenty. So I'm going to get out of there. We need to get flying here while we still have battery. We're already down to 70% battery. So let's bring it in here a little bit so you can see it. Let me rock it back and forth here a little. And you can see it's calmed down. It's pretty steady now, and it's just because we were in ADI mode there that it was moving around before. So I'm going to drop that gimbal down a little bit. And pardon me for, let's reverse it up now. We'll start our droney. Whoops. Whoa. Man, it went right, it moved around right behind that tree there. That was a little scary, and that wasn't me cross-coupling. That was the drone moving over. So anyway, let's continue our droney. Reverse and up. And it's moving that direction. And I'm telling you, I am straight down on one stick, and I'm notorious for cross-coupling, but that wasn't me. That was the drone kind of moving that direction. So, and it's got 17 satellites right now. We're going to stop right there. Let me drop the camera down to that rule of thirds, and it's pretty level. It looked a little crooked there at first, but it looks like it straightened right out. So, so that's good. And let's just fly it. Let's just fly it around the park here, and give you a look. So we're out over the pond, and you know, so far so good. You know, it's like I said, it kind of threw me there when it started moving to the left, and I was afraid I was going to put it into that tree, but fortunately we were behind the tree as it moved left. And even if I'd had obstacle avoidance on, this guy does not have sideways OA. So yeah, so moving forward here, and you know, I'm seeing a little tiny bit of a crooked horizon, not terribly bad. We're at about 8 meters per second, and we are in normal mode. So let's go ahead and click it up into sport mode, and let's see how fast we can get up to. Let's keep going out here over the, and then that's kicking it right up to about, 14 meters per second. That's pretty quick for a mini drone. So 62% battery. I want to get as much flight time as we can out of this guy. I apologize for not having a full battery. Again, I did the firmware update on this battery, so that's one of the reasons. So we're not going to worry about flight time here. So let's, and you know what, connection wise, I'm seeing a little bit of break. Whoa, 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 we got some, holy cow. Yeah, I don't know what's going on here. Yeah, I was bragging about the connection and it just went wild on me. So, you know what? I was going to fly it around the car dealership there, but nah, we're not going to do that. Let's bring it on back. We'll bring it straight back. This will be kind of easy. Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to see if I can do an orbit around. Wow, this guy really. I'm going to go back into normal mode. In fact, we're in film mode right now. I can't remember what that top speed is. It's pretty slow. Yeah, about 2 meters per second. Let's go into normal mode. I was going to bring it over to the sculpture here and we'll see if we can do, yeah, and my FPV feed is kind of getting a little wonky, and of course we're a ways away, but nonetheless. So let's drop it down a little, and I'm going to go back into film mode here, and I'm going to see if I can do an orbit around the sculpture here, going true to the drone's right. And I am getting a little, the FPV feed is kind of catching up, so. And you'll see that on the screen recording. And we are a ways away. We're 500 meters away from the drone, so. Anyway, so I mean, it's not horrible, but it's certainly not ideal either. But you know what? I'm in film mode. I'm having no problem doing a manual orbit around this guy. I get a little worried when the FPV feed is catching up, if I'm really getting it in the center of frame or not. And I seem to be. So not a problem there. Okay, so we were able to accomplish that. Let's pick that gimbal back up, and I'm going to go back into normal mode. And the drone is flying okay. I mean, other than those anomalies that we saw, trust me, I've seen way worse. So it's flyable. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Let's bring it back over the ponds here, and we'll fly back over the water. I'm always, I know a lot of people are afraid to fly over water, and that always kind of amuses me. I understand that, yeah, if your drone falls into water, you're not going to recover it. I get that, but you're not. Water doesn't magically make your drone unflyable either, and I think some people kind of, I've heard people talk about that. Oh, I don't want to fly over the water. I just have to tell you, I have no problem with it. I do it all the time, as you have seen me do in numerous videos here. And then one thing about flying over the water is you know that you're not over the top of people, or typically you're not, causing any issues for anybody. The drone is flying fine, and I see, it seems to me like I see the horizon kind of going up and down just a little, almost like rocking on a boat or something. Well, I guess we are over water. How much battery? We got 47% battery, so we're doing great battery power-wise, so there's no reason to get too carried away, and we're just coming almost directly back to where I'm at here. And we got plenty of battery power. We've been flying, screen recording for about 8 minutes. And I can hear the drone. This has been a good experience, or a better experience than I've had in the past with this drone. So I'm going to say, in typical Hubsan style, they just keep updating the firmware. And I'm going to pause for a second, let that person walk by. And we're going to go over the pickleball courts here, see if anybody's playing pickleball. We're down to 44% battery. Gosh, battery is doing great. Plenty of battery life. Nobody playing pickleball, so we can fly right down. In fact, I don't want to get too low because I'll probably start having connection issues. I'm trying to think. Connection issues, that's what I was trying to say. And I can see a little breakup on my FPV. Even though I'm only 200 meters away, I'm down lower. So let's go ahead and pick it back up and we'll get more direct line of sight to the drone. And there is the, you guys have seen this many times before. I just did a video with the Autel Nano Plus where they were doing a kind of a cosplay event here at the band shell. Yeah, telling us the battery level is at 40% on the screen recorder, so I appreciate that on the FPV screen. So yeah, let's do good. So we definitely want to take some pictures. So I'm going to bring this kind of up, and let's pick that camera up, and let's get looking towards the Boise front here, and drop the camera down just a little. What did we do here? Yeah, I had kind of a weird event there on my phone, and I didn't touch anything on the phone. It's kind of weird. But anyway, so we're down. I'm going to stop recording. We're going to switch to camera mode, and we are going to take a picture. So I'm assuming I did that on the controller. I'm going to try it on the app as well. Yeah, so it doesn't really, there it kind of told me that the screen went a little bit white, so it told me it took a picture. So let's go back this direction, and we'll take a picture over the ponds and so forth here too. So taking a picture. And we're good to go there. In fact, let's take another picture. Let's go shoot towards the Meridian Village Shopping Center. Another picture. All right, we're going to switch back into video mode. And I'm going to fly it out here a ways, and we'll do a return to home. And this guy will actually, they say it'll do a precision return to home. We'll see. We'll see how it does. And in fact, I will probably turn obstacle avoidance back on because I don't know if that turns off the downward sensors too, but we definitely want those on. So we're going to go out here a ways. We'll get down. We'll get over the other pond here, and then we'll do our RTH. I got to tell you, I haven't flown this drone in a long time. I've got. You know, I'm pretty happy with the flight. It's, you know, no big issues that I've seen. Okay, so facing the other direction, and we are still recording. I'm going to do a return to home. Yeah, it's telling us at 30%, so I'm going to do that on the app. Tell it to return to home to the takeoff point. We're going to click, hold it. Before I do that, I'm going to go in, and I'm going to turn obstacle avoidance back on. Yeah, it's telling me forced open, so I'm going to force it open. Maybe. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we're in bypass. So let's put it into return to home again on the app to the takeoff point. And let's see, yeah, it's flipping right around. And this drone, I believe, has to have video off to do a precision landing. So I wonder if it'll tell us that. Well, I guess we'll find out as it comes back here. We're down to 26% battery. So we had good flight time. You know, we've been flying for probably, I think we've been recording for probably 15 minutes or so, so I'm pleased with that. You know, we started out with about 80% battery, so that's good. A lot of GPS interference, it says, even though we got 18 satellites. Well, now it's down to 15. Yeah, back up to 18. That's me dropping the camera down as we come back here. Let's see how well this guy does hitting the. Yeah, it keeps telling me to be careful. We are. We've only got 16 satellites. Yeah, it's not going to hit the pad. Yeah, so it's way off. So I am going to stop. So I stopped it right. Well, it's still wanting to land. Yeah. There, I stopped it. Yeah, there I finally got it stopped. So I hit the stop button, that didn't do it, but I hit on the little icon, the little return to home icon, I got, so let's pick that. Well, I was going to pick the camera up so you could see me, but I've got that, evidently I've got that pretty slow. Yeah, anyway, there I am there. So let's bring it in here. Cancel return. Boy, that, we definitely got a crooked. Just landing a drone. I'm landing a drone right there.
I didn't think I was in the way.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we're bringing the drone in here. Let me make sure we got the camera adjusted so you can see it. And let's drop that camera down. It kind of threw me there. So I'm dropping the camera down so we can get to the landing pad. Let's put it into film mode, so we're slowed down here. I got to tell you guys, that kind of threw me. Literally stepped over the top of my landing pad as I was bringing the drone in. It's kind of weird. Now I know I'm in a public park, right? And it's up to me to be careful, but man, you just would think that common sense would. Yeah, cancel return. It really wants to land. I'm trying to bring it forward. I'm just going to hit down on that. It keeps moving around. We're just going to hit down, down. Is it going to land on the pad? It did, yeah. Look, I even got it on the H. But I forgot this guy doesn't pick up the camera, so yeah, it stopped recording, which is good. And anyway, let me get everything shut down here, and then we'll get the Fimi X8 Mini in the air. Okie dokie, we've got the Fimi X8 Mini hooked up here, and return to home height looks good. It's recognizing the SD card. I've actually formatted that earlier. That's something that happens on Fimi drones as often. And the pre-flight check, spelled C-H-E-K, says normal, so it's not asking for any calibration, so we're not going to do any. I wanted to show you that firmware package, so I'm clicking on the little gear icon, clicking on the one more time, the 3 dots at the bottom, and firmware update. So we're going to click on that, and that is our firmware package. You can see the flight control and the camera number, RC number, etc. So that tells you the firmware package, and we're in good shape. We are newly updated there. Now we want to look at the camera menu, and again, we're going to go back in. I fly so many drones, it's hard to remember where you look for all this stuff. So video size 720, no, we want to do better than that. We want to be 4K. So we're clicking into 4K, 30 frames per second. And let's go back, and video quality, I'm going to leave it, well, we're not going to do any intelligent flight modes, so I'm going to put it on high. So I think that's fair, and everything else is going to be in auto. Color is on vivid, etc. So you can see the rest of it there. We've got our grid lines on. So yeah, we're good to go with the camera. Let's go ahead and start recording. And we'll do an auto takeoff with this guy. This guy's already got 21 satellites, so satellite-wise, it did a little bit better than what we saw with the, and I'm straightening out the Action 2 camera here. It was a little bit crooked. So the drone is doing fine. It's kind of circle, a little bit of a little circle in front of me here. Let's drop it down here. Let's move it out. You can see it moving around there a little. Let's turn it around, give it a second to get its bearings. And we'll see if we can bring it in here. You can see where I'm sitting there and some folks walking behind me. Let's see if we can drop that gimbal down just a touch and bring it in for the camera here a little bit. I'm a little nervous. I got a post right here, and I'm afraid if I get underneath the picnic shelter here that I might lose GPS or something. So we're not going to do that. That's me lowering the camera down. And the drone is moving around a little bit, but let's go ahead and do our droney. So reverse and up now. And boy, this is way more like it on that droney. No weird movements or anything. The drone, and boy, I always forget how powerful this drone is. It's moving back at 10 meters per second. So our droney, we went a lot farther than we did with the Hubsan drone. Let's go ahead and pick up the camera there and get kind of vaguely to that rule of thirds. And this guy's got just a hint of a crooked horizon, although I'm going to tell you it's not too bad. So let's go ahead and spin it around. And again, we were just in normal flight mode. And as I recall, this guy gets confused on the flight modes. And when you look at them in the app, what it tells you which speed mode it is never right. So we'll look at that as we go here. But flip it around here and give you a look at the pawns here. And in fact, I'm going to back up a little bit because I want to get kind of in vaguely the same position, I think, as we were with the Zino Mini Pro. This guy flies great, man. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you right off the bat, I have more confidence flying this guy than I did the little Hubsan drone. It's just a lot more accurate. So let's go ahead and move forward across the pond here. And we're just in normal mode. Let's see, boy, we're going as fast as the Hubsan did in high speed mode. Wow, we're almost to 15 meters per second. So let's stop for a second and let's see if we can put it into sport mode here. If I can remember, sport mode is a switch right here. So I am a little bit confused. Wow, so it put itself into fail-safe return. So that's not good. So that tells you that we're going to stop that. So it says that it didn't get a connection. So I'm going to walk out here a little ways because we want to maintain connection. But there's a plus for the Hubsan and a negative for this drone in that it didn't keep its connection, which it's weird. I'm looking at it right now and it looks pretty good. So I don't know if they updated the app here, but there was, or maybe I'm thinking of the X8 SE drone, but there was more than just, there was like a switch where you could switch it between, yeah, it's different now. So I must be thinking of the X8 SE. But anyway, let's flip it into sport mode here. So sport mode is on. And let's go full forward here, and let's see how fast this guy will go. We're down to 78% battery already, and it dips the gimbal, which is absolutely understandable. But this guy is hauling the mail, 17 meters per second. That's phenomenal. And I am holding the, in fact, I'm going to grab some altitude here so that we don't lose connection. More altitude is easier. And I'm holding the flat part of the antenna straight towards the drone. So let's go over to the, just like we did with the other drone. I don't know if we're going to get as much flight time, so I'm going to kind of get in a little bit of a hurry here. We're still in sport mode. I'm going to go over to the, yeah, and I'm getting a little blinky stuff on FPV. So, yeah, okay. I think we might have been a little closer. Let's move it in a little closer. Let's take it out of sport mode. Sport mode, back into normal mode. And I believe that I can go into what they call a tripod mode, because we were in film mode with the other drone. I want to do them both the same. So I'm going to go into, I know there's a tripod mode here. Yeah, there it is, tripod mode. And I clicked on the little, looked like a little Android looking guy at the bottom, and there's tripod mode. Yeah, 1 meter per second. So we're going to click OK, maybe. And I think we're in tripod mode. I'm going to move a little closer. Yeah, it's moving pretty slow, so that's good. And it's 1 meter per second. I am full, going full forward at 1 meter per second. So let's drop the camera down a little bit. I'm going to center up on that sculpture, and we're going to see if we can do an orbit around it. And we are, but it's painfully slow. So I'm going to take it out of tripod mode, and then, yeah, you can see on the screen recording there. So we're out of tripod mode. We're back in normal mode. That's a little better. Yeah, so we can get and I'm seeing my my connection meters at the top are kind of going into the orange, and yeah, I kind of got into the red there for a second. So it's all over the place. I'm holding the, yeah, and so that made it tough. It really, I lost my FPV feed there for a second, so it's hard to keep that smooth orbit. Again, I'm holding the flat part of the antenna right at the drone, and we're about 45 meters high. But we did it. Look at that. We got through it. And that's about what we did with the Hubsan drone. So let's pick that camera back up. And boy, look at that crooked horizon. You know, I was moving sideways, and that moved that. We'll see the horizon probably level itself off as we move forward here. But because we were moving sideways, it really tilted that gimbal. Fimi just struggles with gimbal control on their drones, and you know, it goes all the way back to the, you know, I used to fly the Xiaomi Mi 4K drone, Fimi drone, and boy, it struggled, and I don't know, they've never really got it figured out. And look now, if you look, our horizon is pretty straight. So okay, let's bring it back to us across the water. Just a similar pattern to what we did with the other drone, and I'm dropping it down. We're about 30 meters, 32 meters off the water here, and we'll bring it back to us. And I'll go over to the same spot. Yeah, we're doing good on battery. We're at 60% battery, so I was a little probably premature on worrying about battery power, about having enough battery, but better safe than sorry. This guy's definitely a lot faster than that Hubsan drone. This is a sporty little flyer, I'm telling you that. I don't know of any other mini drone that's as fast as this one. I'll just tell you that right now. And I like that they give us the H for the home point, so you can see where I'm at there. And let's go ahead and, just like we did with the other drone, we're going to go towards the pickleball courts. Drone is almost right above me now. Let's see, let's fly. I'm just trying to remember to kind of get to a similar altitude and vector as we were on the with the other drone. And we're pretty close. It's fun to watch that drone fly through the air. And you know, I got a little bit of breakup on FPV there. It got a little you know, stop and go there for a little bit. Yeah, it's just not what you would hope it to be. Yeah, there's still nobody. I'm surprised there's nobody out on the pickleball courts. And again, you know, my FPV, and I'm pretty close to me, and I'm less than 200 meters away, and still getting a little bit of FPV breakup. That is disappointing. It's hard because you're trying to frame a shot, and you just cannot do it when you have that kind of breakup going on. So let's pick up the camera again, and let's go back over. And I think we took a look at the band shell with the other drone as well. And I suspect we were probably a little bit lower with the other drone, so let's drop this guy down a little. And we kind of got our, well, I said we got our connection back, and then it got a little bit blocky again. I don't know what to say. It stutters, I guess is a better way to describe it. Is you kind of, FPV freezes and then it catches up. So, okay, well let's grab some altitude. And with the other drone, we're down to 50% battery. Let's take some pictures. So I'm gonna look towards the Boise front here. And again, a little bit of a crooked horizon, and it'll eventually kind of straighten itself out. So I'm going to stop recording now. We've been flying for about 12 minutes, or been screen recording for about 12 minutes. So let's stop that, and we are going to switch it. I'm going to see if, I'm just going to press the picture taking button on the controller and see if that switches it. And it did, and it took a picture. Photo taken succeed, it says. So that's good. And then let's see, we faced towards the ponds here, I believe. So let's take another picture there. So I don't know if I got them framed up exactly the same, but we're going to be pretty close. And there is the Meridian Village. You know, one of the things that I think, just looking at the FPV feed here, I'm thinking that the Fimi, or the Hubsan, had a more of a wide-angle camera on it, but I'm not going to say that for sure. Okay, I'm going to start recording again, and again, I'm going to just do it on the controller here. So I'm hitting the left button, and yeah, it started recording. Boom, that's what we want. And so let's just do just like we did with the Hubsan drone, and we're going to fly it clear out over to the edge over there and throw it into return to home. And this guy, to my knowledge, it doesn't even pretend to have precision landing. Yeah, I kind of got a little weird kind of a bump on the controls there. It kind of, the drone kind of had a mind of its own there for a second. Kind of moved around there a little, kind of weird. How high are we? We've got a return to home set at 35 meters. So I'll tell you what we're going to do, just for the fun of it. When we get out here, and I don't think I was out this far. I'm trying to remember if I was out this far with the Hubsan drone, but we'll get out here and we'll turn it around. And I am seeing that I'm in the orange on my FPV signal strength meter, but we'll turn it around. You know what? I think we let the drone turn itself around before, didn't we? So yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go back. I'm going to drop some altitude here. Let's get it. That's good enough. And then I'm going to hit return to home. Let's do it on the controller. I'm holding down the button on the controller. Auto return, and it took that command immediately. And it should rise to its return. It is. It's rising up to its return to home height. That's what I kind of wanted to test. And you can see the H there on the screen, which is, I think is really cool. So that you always, you know, DJI just put that on the Mavic 3 Pro, and I really like that. That's the kind of augmented reality that really helps you fly your drone. So it's coming right back to us here at how fast? Yeah, about 9 meters per second, so it's moving right along. And again, I don't expect this drone to do a precision landing. It doesn't say that it has precision landing, and I don't expect it to do so. So we got the camera looking down there, the action camera, so you'll be able to see it come down here. But let's see how accurate it is as it comes back. And, you know, I'm looking at battery. We're down to 33% battery. So, and again, I did the firmware update with this battery, so. But pretty good flight here. You know, we didn't have any big problems. You know, a little bit of FPV breakup, and we had one situation where it put itself into return to home, loss of signal return to home. Then that's me dropping the camera down. Looks like it wants to land right on top of that tree, huh? So we'll see what it does. No, not quite. Landing pad. Oh no, this does have precision landing. So let's see if it finds the landing pad. I'll tell you, where it's coming down right now is not going to hurt a thing. So let's see if it finds that landing pad. Yeah, now it's off in the grass a little bit. Oh, look at that. It's moving towards it. Landing pad detected. Yeah. You know what it wants to do? Oh no, now it's moving over. I'm watching the drone come down. You can see it. It's going to hit the pad. Hey, this is a winner. This is a winner, man. Score one for Fimi. It picked up the camera there at the end. That was pretty wild because we watched it do some pretty good gyrations there at the end. The other thing is I like the way Fimi stops recording when the drone lands. Let me get everything shut down and we'll do a quick conclusion. Okay, the Fimi X8 Mini version 2 and the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro, or if you get the EXO version, it is called a Blackhawk Mini. You know, really, I thought both of those flights were okay. They were relatively trouble-free flights. We had a couple of issues with breakup on FPV with both drones. And then we did actually lose signal on the Fimi at one point. But then it's weird. I mean, a little bit later, we flew it out even further, and it was fine. I also want to add that I had my iPhone in airplane mode. Hubsan actually recommends that. Any Hubsan drone, put your drone in airplane mode when you're flying it. I've learned that the hard way. If you don't do it, you're just going to have connection problems. So just do it, and probably not a bad idea with this one too. Now, you guys will have already looked at the video quality, and that was the picture quality. That was kind of the point of this video. We didn't look at any of the intelligent flight modes or any of that other stuff. You know, they both do tracking, and I can say that they both do tracking pretty good. Some of the other flight modes, I know on this guy can be a little bit hit and miss. I've had some weird stuff happen with it. This guy, the flight modes seem to work pretty well on it. So I can say, you know, I can recommend on that the flight modes, for the most part, on both of them work. This guy, obstacle avoidance, just turn obstacle avoidance off. I've never had much luck with it. Now, that said, you know, there's been a bunch of firmware updates, and I haven't messed with it since the firmware updates. So maybe I should give it another try. I'm just talking about some of my experience probably a year ago or so with this guy, so it's been a while. The other thing I want to add is this guy, it definitely gets hot. When it landed, let me tell you, you couldn't touch the bottom of the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro. It was that hot. And they even have that on the app, it tells you the CPU temp on there. And you saw when we were flying around, it was hot when we took off, but then it cooled right off as soon as we started flying around a little bit, getting some airflow through it. But yeah, you guys will have already seen the video quality. I'm interested to see how it looks. I've had issues with the Hubsan drone, excuse me, the Fimi drone in the past. Just some weird stuff with the video files on it, where it will write to, the video file will repeat itself, and just some weird stuff. So hopefully we won't see any of that, and it'll look okay. You guys will have already seen it. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about is that was so weird when I was landing this guy, and the lady walked up. She was walking a dog. So the park is pretty empty, and I'm in this picnic shelter. She literally had to purposely go out of her way to walk over here. I don't know if she was just curious or what, but just as I was bringing in the drone to land, she walked right over the top of the landing pad. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess I understand not everybody's a drone person and may not understand, but, and I also, let me also acknowledge that it is my job not to stay out of people's way. I understand, as a drone pilot, it is your job to stay out of people's way. However, you'd also think common sense would come into it at some point too. She was very nice. She wasn't mean or weird about it at all. It's just I thought it was odd. You know, I very clearly was bringing the drone in, and she could see it very clearly. And of all the places to walk in this huge big old park, and there was nobody else around, she walks, you know, 5 feet in front of me, right over the top of my landing pad. Anyway, that aside, enough of that. I just thought it was weird. That's all. That's the only reason I bring it up. I guess that's about it. This is Marcus Crawford with the Idaho Quadcopter channel. If you like this kind of video, please consider subscribing to my channel. Most of all, I appreciate you taking the time to look at this video. And yeah, of course, we'll see you on the next one. The Fimi X8 Mini and the Hubsan Zino Mini Pro. All right, see you guys later. Bye now.